welcome to Surviving the Slowdown. We're coming to you from lovely Kolkata. Yes, it's humid and sultry, a bit like the economy itself. On the backdrop of Victoria, this is the ITC headquarters at Virginia House. And my special guest today, who begins the entire consumption episode, is Vaisi Deveshwar of ITC.
There is some degree of concern that if growth doesn't happen, what will happen to the organization?
Things are not going well. It's much better for them to blame the external situation.
Consumption is the hallmark of India's growth story. But high interest rates and inflation are beginning to hurt this mascot of growth. An economic low in the country's mood and sentiment is impacting urban purchasing power and dumbing down a desire to shop. Companies like Unilever, ITC, Godrej and Marico are then looking to a more robust rural India to boost growth. In the short term, all eyes are on monsoon rains to trigger some serious demand. A rate cut by the RBI will also help create more purchasing power. Demand for policy reform is universal in order to lift general sentiment across the country. We start our journey to meet the slowdown survivors of the FMCG sector in Kolkata, a state reflective of India's low consumer sentiment as West Bengal struggles with high debt and low growth. Here is based one of India's top consumer companies at the Virginia House, the headquarters of ITC. We meet Vaisi Deveshwar, the eternal optimist who has 25,000 crores of expansion under progress and a strong belief in the power of the Indian consumer. Gives me great pleasure to introduce Vaisi Deveshwar here in his very own city, Kolkata. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. Surviving the slowdown, the big theme on our show. And the question I want to ask you is that, is it time corporate India says, hell, we're going to deal with this slowdown because we can?
Yes, definitely we can. I think what we need to do is to invest more money and invest into the future. I think the long-term story, I'm very optimistic about it.
Okay.
I think this is, in my view, a blip. It's a cyclical downturn. I hope that we've touched the bottom and we will grow. After all, the Indian demographic dividend is just not something that is imaginary. But it's not that something that will happen by itself.
Yeah.
We need to, of course, work at it so that this demographic advantage converts
Actually
itself into a
stays.
dividend and not a disaster.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, as a consumer company, what is your own sense about where the growth of consumer goods is going? Because clearly that's a space which tends to survive a slowdown by the nature of its own goods. You know, they're basic commodities most of the time and people don't tend to give up purchasing them in a slowdown. Are you witnessing a growth or is it becoming a plateaued story?
No, I think there is value growth is continuing, although a little bit moderated, but volumes have come down. But there is another feature of the fast-moving consumer goods story, and that is that people are upgrading.
Yeah.
So
to higher value and higher margin products.
Higher value products.
Yeah. You know, as we are at the headquarters, at this amazing backdrop of the Victoria, what's very interesting for me to ask you today, when you look at a vantage point, which businesses of ITC do you see growing in a slowdown?
Actually depends on strategy, country strategy and business strategy.
What's yours?
When depreciation of the rupee takes place, India becomes a much cheaper destination for people to travel to. So as a matter of fact, it should be very good for a tourism business.
So you're saying
but it will take a little while before this gets translated to more people wanting to come to India. But this won't happen by itself. We need to market India.
Is ITC then riding the rupee more than it is getting impacted by it?
Well, you always want to, convert threat into an opportunity. So if the depreciation of the rupee takes place, this is what the portfolio is all about. So our agri-exports business should benefit from it.
Yeah.
So our exports businesses will benefit, our tourism business should benefit from this. But our imports of capital goods will make it more expensive.
Yeah, indeed, but that's a natural
it's a mixed bag.
equation. Yes,
It's a mixed bag.
Indeed so. How much of this
sentiments that you just talked about, you know, we need to market India. Do you think we've paused that activity? India is not marketing itself well enough and not substantiating it.
At the moment, we are engaged in blame game, and you know we're engaged in scoring sort of brownie points against each other. I think we need to rise as one person, because the adversity that has struck Indian economy is everybody's problem, and we need to rise as one person to be able to deal with it.
In that, who would you put the onus on to take the first step?
On everybody, I told you, at the state level, you know, there are states that are performing much better than the other states.
Yeah.
And at company level, at central level, at different ministries level, so everybody.
But you know, that's
NGOs,
that's where I want to come to.
Media. Yeah, media.
It's easy to put the gun on my shoulder.
No, it's not a gun. But you know, you should give more positive stories, because it's a matter of sentiment. It's a matter of sustaining confidence.
If sentiment is on a low, how can one create a positive story when the story actually is under a bit of threat?
No, you're creating one by talking to me.
By talking to you, fair enough. Do you think you need a change in leadership in the country? Is that something that bothers you as a conglomerate head?
I am not concerned with the political leadership. I am more concerned with what can we do as a corporate entity to contribute to our society. I think that will be a fairer question to ask of me.
So let's ask you that question. Now today there's so much criticism about the finance minister. There's talk about how whether he could be headed for the presidential race and so on and so forth. You would want the current so-called once upon a time dream team to stay?
I think he's a very capable finance minister.
Yeah.
He's very calm and collected in adversity. He exudes confidence. I think he's good for the economy.
So what will do to sort of bring the confidence of consumers back into shape? Would a rate cut be that mood changer?
But rate cut is also, it is. I think it's important, because all the imported inflation cannot be dealt with by rate hikes.
Right.
So we need to handle it also from the supply side, and also in making money a little more affordable for investment.
Which means that our focus on inflation might be a bit overdone. You think needs to go back to the focus on growth?
But that is what it is. In a globalized world, each of the participants do not have all the instruments to be able to create the orchestra.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. That's how our fortunes are tied to the global economy.
And we are therefore singing out of tune right now.
At the moment, yes. We are bearing the consequences of what's happening elsewhere in the world. At the end of the day, why money should not, there is, at the moment, volatility in the way money flows in and out, is because of, the lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence. Final question today. What is the worst you're catering for as a company head?
Well, let me tell you, even a 6.5% rate of growth is not a bad one in the current global economic situation. But of course, our aspiration to be a double-digit growth economy is there, and we should aim for it.
That's the important point. Aim for that double digit. Right now we are double digit with several decimals on it, but that's something we need to fix, as Vice Deveshwar says. We'll travel from Kolkata to the heart of Mumbai, where we'll take you to Adi Godrej's factory in Vikhroli on surviving the slowdown.
If we can just get agricultural productivity to the best levels we have in each crop in India, we can double our agricultural output.
From Kolkata, we flew straight to Mumbai. And went to Vikhroli, the sprawling headquarters of the Godrej Group. Adi Godrej is using this slowdown to expand in a big way. While rural India remains a wide market, Godrej believes this is a good time to look overseas and explore acquisitions. He points out our slowdown is not a global fallout and says it's time for India to look inwards, where social sector schemes have helped increase purchasing power among the poor. And if we improve our agriculture growth, we can double the productivity that could be key to the consumer story.
I think we should be clear. The global situation is, to my mind, affecting us, but very little. I don't think our slowdown is a result of the global situation, because the US is doing quite well now. Japan is also doing well. China has slowed down a little bit, but the real problem is in Europe. But I think our slowdown is mainly related to our internal issues.
Sure.
Lack of reform. We haven't moved forward in many cases.
Why is the finance minister suggesting otherwise most of the time? He's saying that let's blame this on what is going on in the,
Naturally,
European
I mean,
market.
for a political party in power, if things are not going well, it's much better for them to blame the external situation.
Yeah.
The external situation has some negative effects, but I think most of the problems are internal.
What do you think are the two key drivers for consumer good companies in the medium term, given that we're expecting the slowdown to be around for some time? If it's not necessarily, a great monsoon, what are the two things that you would watch
First
out?
of all, I disagree with you that the slowdown is going to be there. It entirely depends on the reform process.
Yes.
We have the ability to overcome this slowdown very quickly.
But the reform process should signal that it's here for some time.
But that, unlike Europe, if you just bring the goods and services tax in, we could add 2 percentage points to our GDP growth. We could get to 9% growth. Right. So there are many opportunities. So I do hope with the parliamentary session just having got over, that the reform process will start again. And if that's so, then I think we can recover growth. So I'm not very pessimistic about recovery of growth.
Right.
Talking of the consumer businesses, I think they'll continue to do well because rural demand continues to be strong. Consumer sentiment is strong, consumer spending is quite good.
So let's talk about the rural market. There's been this impression for many years that the rate of growth of incomes in rural India might have actually frayed as opposed to increased. So that in many ways is not more of a concern today because the incomes are beginning to signal that there is demand coming for consumer goods.
No, I think rural incomes are rising a lot. First of all, the NREGA scheme is helping that. So people have alternatives to work on. Okay. Rural labor costs are rising. That means incomes are rising. So I think the rural situation is very good.
So you did hint at NREGA. Does that mean that social sector schemes have truly helped India's rural population to sort of step up in their consumption patterns?
Yes, I think in some ways they have. They have created alternatives for rural employment. And it has also created a situation where most rural people are able to earn reasonable income.
Players like Godrej have brands for rural India focused at them. Are they getting sort of increasingly interested in getting brand conscious in their own way?
Yes, I think rural consumers are getting more sophisticated. But what we should remember, Shaili, is that if you go back say 15-20 years, there was very little discretionary income in rural India. Most rural earnings went to keep body and soul together.
Yes.
Now as incomes rise, the rise in discretionary expenditure is very high.
So different from the urban trend, where discretionary spending sort of takes a backseat.
Urban discretionary spending already started rising 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think that's the phenomenon which is creating strong demand.
You've been talking about inflation for some time with us. I would want to know, what do you see happening on the inflation front, and whether this growth interest in FMCG products that one is seeing is going to fuel it even further? Where do you see inflation from here?
No, I don't think inflation, which was created by global commodity prices, is waning, and inflationary expectations are low. And if we can get our act right and improve supply side logistics in India, then we can bring inflation down a lot. But Shaili, people don't realize it, but if we can just get agricultural productivity to the best levels we have in each crop in India, we can double our agricultural output. So supply side initiatives are extremely important.
You talk about the growth story right now from a domestic standpoint, but corporations like yours are also gaining a great deal by their presence in other emerging markets. Do you think that that's something that's actually helping companies like you survive the slowdown?
No, it's not a question of surviving the slowdown. To us, expanding outside India is an opportunity we are seizing. Indian companies have now have scale and size.
Right.
Indian companies have competitiveness. We have very strong competitiveness at the bottom of the pyramid. So companies are leveraging that to expand outside the country.
Yeah.
And as your operations, Indian and global, grow, economies of scale come in, and you are able to move technologies, business processes, products from country to country. It's not necessarily only from India to other countries, but you may bring in some best practices from those countries into India.
You know, I always wonder whether India is putting all its eggs in the consumption basket. We often go out there and chest thump that we are the big consumption story. Are we at some stage making too much of this story?
Not too much. That's very good to have a consumption story. That in addition, what we should do is to ensure that our investment story is also strong, as it was when we were growing at 9 to 10%.
But you admit it's not so any longer.
No, the investment story is not very good. Investment is slowing down.
But just like with justice, do you think with growth, delayed growth is denied growth in the country?
Of course. And very clearly, not grasping the opportunities which are available is lost opportunity.
That's a great point to make. Thanks very much, Mr. Adi Godrej.
Good talking to you, Shaili.
We're going to slip into a short break. When we come back, the focus shifts to yet another company and how they're using the slowdown for innovation and research. The Indian consumer is highly price sensitive. As a result, when sentiment is low, consumers tend not to spend at all. So what kind of out-of-the-box thinking can change this scenario? And are consumer companies using this slowdown to do that thinking? Marico's offices are in Mumbai. Hi Mr. Mariwala, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
With factories across Kerala, Goa and Himachal. Harsh Mariwala resisted a takeover from HUL to grow this firm beyond a small family business. And today, they're among the largest producers of edible oil and personal products. Marico is using this slowdown by exploring acquisitions in global markets, growing its foods portfolio, and investing in innovation and research when the chips are down for the economy.
We have to look at what cuts ice with the consumer, either in order to increase market share or to increase market size.
Do slowdowns make for better periods for you to do higher research for new products?
No, I think slowdown, in a way, it makes you introspect much more, and you are far more agile as an organization. There is some degree of concern that if growth doesn't happen, what will happen to the organization. So you are far more sensitive to issues like innovation, pricing, growth in a slowdown, and including your costs.
So, that's the point. So, from a corporate point of view, the costs are very important. Yeah. But from a customer's point of view, the price sensitivity, I'm imagining, goes up even more during a slowdown. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I agree that the sensitivity is much higher in a slowdown, because within the same budget, partly because of higher inflation, the household has to manage purchases in a smaller basket. And I think the key challenge to us as FMCG companies is to offer products at the right price point at one level, products which are innovative by giving some packages rather than just giving standalone products. The growth has been there in spite of high inflation, and we have seen growth coming in from urban areas as well as from rural areas, and higher growth from rural areas. And I think one key reflection of this growth is, one can say, that the wealth has percolated down to the poorer sections of the society, mainly those staying in rural areas.
Okay. That's a very interesting point. So you're saying that the demand is strong largely because the contribution of rural areas has helped you become less and less exposed to a slowdown?
Yes, because the growth rate in rural area has been far more robust compared to urban areas. Urban areas also are growing, but rural areas are growing at a faster rate.
Clearly there's an increasing size of the rural market, and the urban market automatically calls these essential goods. So where do you see yourself focusing, and what kind of expansion are we looking at?
I think challenge is to be far more aspirational as far as growth is concerned at one level, and hope and wish that the overall slowdown in the economy, which is hitting many sectors including durables, will not percolate to our FMCG sector.
So let's talk about the margin making capabilities of the future. Would they be sort of dependent on increasing value added services in your portfolio, or would it be a volume game primarily, which would then mean lower margins?
No, I don't think we are looking at a situation where there will be lower margins. Our growth strategy is based on organic growth of our existing brands, also launching new brands, increasing market share where we are weaker players, and increasing market size where we are brand leaders or category leaders.
The concept of down trading, wherein customers move to cheaper or possibly even lower brands during a slowdown. What is the status on that in today's crisis situation?
For us, most categories we are present in, we are market leaders. So, to answer your question, very limited impact, very marginal impact. In some cases, there could be impact, but it has not impacted our overall growth rates.
Every time there's a percentage or two drop in the input cost of oil, how does that change margins and an approach to pricing?
Anywhere between 1% would mean improved margins by around say 0.25% to 0.5%, depending on the brand. And depending on within a brand also we may have various extensions, so each extension may have a different cost structure.
What do you think will be the 3 game-changing initiatives in consumer goods business ahead? What could either catapult the sector to the next big phase or seek some assistance from the government in order to build on its strengths?
See, I think the biggest game changer would be the GST introduction, which is pending for last few years. Number 2 is the FDI in retail, which again is a big game changer in terms of the overall retail environment. It cuts ice both ways depending on how you are placed in the market, whether are you a market leader, are you a weak player, to what extent are you vulnerable to private label competition. I think that would be the second game changer. And the third game changer is overall how the economy does, and because penetration level of many of the products or categories of products in India is very, very low, especially in skin care, in breakfast foods. And if the overall wealth percolates to rural areas, we can see much higher usage for these categories and much higher growth rates. So I think overall economy and benefits of economy percolating to the rural masses will also increase the penetration levels for the products or the sectors where the penetration level is low.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
India's billion-plus population is likely to ensure that the consumer story remains strong. But what is now needed is a recognition that India must not lose this edge. As a result, some policy measures will surely help. Remember, it's one sector that grows when the economy is up, but it also rises when the economy slows. Perhaps then, it's time for us to give it a bigger lease of life. With that, we wrap this episode on the consumption theme of surviving the slowdown. But remember to catch us next week, same time, same day.